Welcome to the Pink Dress Podcast with Shannon
and Ken.
We are here today. I'm laughing because we're doing a check-in of our resolution. So resolution
and
reality check.
intentions,
reality check. And I'm laughing because we kind of failed.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, January wasn't so good.
Well, I mean, and maybe that's why we talked about intentions.
Yes.
Because I think everybody has really good intentions, and it's only been a month and a half. And I know for me, I know a couple of things I talked about on our show was Diet Pepsi is like terrible for me.
That's your resolution every year.
Every year.
Right.
And I've made it some days, y'all. I have made it some days. But there's
wonderful. That's progress.
It is, but yet I'm still drinking it. So that's good. And then on the way into the studio this morning, there's a song about Diet Pepsi on the radio right now. And I was
it
like,
was calling your name.
I was like, oh dear God. But yeah, so that, and then the other one I know I really talked about, and I've consciously thought about it.
Yeah.
And I almost did it last weekend, is I have never been to the movies by myself. So I was going to go to the movies by myself. And I have not went to the movies by myself.
Yeah, you still got plenty of time. But, you know, it's good to have a check-in.
Yeah.
To kind of check yourself, you know, and see how you're doing. And I don't know that I talked even on the show. I don't remember talking about any of my intentions.
And what were they, Kim?
But I definitely, like in January, always I'll try to reset with a healthy diet.
Yep.
And I did do it.
Good. How long? How long did you last?
I think it lasted a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But you know, I was doing.
But that's better than nothing.
Listen, January is kind of a scale back from December when it's just, you know.
So maybe you started February. Did you start February 1st?
No, I didn't.
Well, March 1st is almost here.
There's still hope for March 1st.
That's right.
But I did do good. But you know, I will tell you the truth.
Oh, I know you will.
What the pitfall was.
What was the pitfall?
It was Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, those daggone Girl Scout cookies. They're so good, though. And they're everywhere.
So good.
And then, one of the guys, you just reminded me, I got to buy some from a guy that I used to work with. He posts this little girl who's adorable, and she's got a little video, like, support me and my endeavors. How could you not buy cookies from her? She's precious. So.
And my oldest daughter is a Girl Scout troop leader.
Yeah.
And so we help her sell them. And I made the mistake of getting a bunch of them and bringing to work with me. And they're just like sitting in my office.
Oh.
And I have a very stressful job.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And sometimes I don't eat. Like sometimes I don't eat till way late in the day. Well, if I realize I'm hungry and there's like Girl Scout cookies sitting in the office, then I'm like, well, I got something to eat.
That's right. That's right. Right. And especially if you have a bunch of them in
there. But that's not good. And so I'm not, no, but I still, it is important for me, not because of weight, like appearance, but important for my health.
Right? It's
my health, yeah. We've talked about me having fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, all that stuff.
And you've kind of made that go into remission.
Yeah.
I remember you used to be sick all
the time.
Like it was like, didn't you just get over a cold?
Right?
And you were
like,
tired
and
and you barely will talk about being sick anymore, which is a blessing.
I don't feel that very often, but when I don't eat well for extended periods of time, that I will feel bad. And I'm not feeling the greatest now. Like I'm stiff and having all sorts of
And I'm like,
pains.
let's go get pancakes after this.
But I was already thinking I'm not going to get pancakes. So, but I love pancakes.
I'm such a bad influence.
No, you're not. But you know, look, we've talked before though. Both of us, when we go to a restaurant, we both eat like really fast.
We do. I mean, I know this is kind of off subject, but like I was raised, there's 5 children, 3 boys. My mother would come home with a box of sugared cereal because she would buy all healthy stuff. And she's like, you guys gobble it all up. She would tell us that. Well, you got 5 kids. What do you think is going to happen with a box of cereal? We're going to gobble it all up?
That's right.
And 3 boys. Hello. What do you think? Anyway, that's off subject, but we do eat fast. Maybe that should have been an intention this year.
Yeah, eat slower. They say that works.
Eat slower, right? Because
Yes.
like what, don't they say your brain and your stomach, right, takes a little bit to kind of
20 minutes, I think, is the time.
talk to each other or whatever.
Yes.
But if you're eating stuff and then you're like, oh my God, I'm so full.
Right. No, I'm guilty. And I also wanted to read more.
How's that going?
I did start reading. So I'm reading a book. I'm reading Verity right now, and I just got to the good part. It's starting to get scary. So, but I'm nowhere near the way I used to love to read, but I'm trying that.
And reading is so therapeutic. I travel a lot from work, and I bought this amazing book. There's a relationship guru. I love her to death. Her name is Jillian. She is so amazing and has the most calm, peaceful voice. And she wrote a book called It Begins With You.
Yeah.
Just with relationships, which it really does. And so I was traveling and I bought the book, but then I'm like, how am I going to read the book? And so I bought it on Audible. And Kim, that might be something that would, because I have a love of reading and it is relaxing, but right, the busy job, the busy life, just things that you have. And I drove to Richmond, or drove back from Richmond, listened to like 3 chapters, and then I drove to South Carolina and I finished it. And it was just, and her voice is so soothing.
Yeah.
It was just really good. Now I want to listen to it again, but I kept the book because the topic was so good that I felt like I want to be able to pick up the book and maybe look at chapter 3, right? As a reminder to help me, right? So maybe Audible, maybe.
I don't know. I could try it.
I
will try it.
This was the first time
I
did.
I don't know.
Like you could be cleaning the bathroom and listening. Honestly, that was the very first time, and I was nervous. That's why I kept the book, because I was like, no, I don't know about all this.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was really good. And, because I watch her on Instagram, and she's reading the book.
Yes.
Right? So it's like you've gotten to know her through Instagram, and then you get to hear her reading the book to you.
Yeah, but I guess, I think I'm more of a visual person.
I am too.
I don't know.
But
give
it a try.
We'll see. I'll try.
Give it a try, and then it might help you get.
Might help me meet my goals or reach my goals.
I was gonna say reach your goal, right? Of reading more movies. You said you've gone to the movies by yourself. Haven't you?
I have not gone to the movies
Okay, one of our
myself.
friends, Kathy, and I were talking.
Yeah.
She said she goes all the time.
Yeah, Kathy does whatever she wants to do. She was one of the biggest people in my life to push me out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
I remember being in college, and I'm a homebody, so I like to be home. And way back in the day, now I don't know if you know about this, Shannon, but there used to be a thing. It's called Freaknik in Atlanta.
Excuse me, what is it called?
Freaknik.
Freaknik.
Yeah,
oh,
Freaknik.
Okay. My mind is going all kinds of places right now.
It was like a big old party in Atlanta, and my then boyfriend was going, and so, but the girls were left behind, so all our boyfriends had gone. They were in a fraternity.
That is not fair.
And I was just saying, well, I'm just going to spend this weekend in the bed and read my book. And, back then I really
feeling
was
some kind of way because he was at Freaknik.
But here she comes, knocking on my door with another one of our friends. She's like, we're going to St. Louis. Get up. I had the car. She's like, get up. We're going. And I was just hemmed and hawed. I did not want to go. But we ended up going to like a softball game in St. Louis and had the best time.
Freaknik, softball game.
To be honest,
I mean,
we probably
got yourself into some trouble.
I don't know. We got into a little bit of trouble.
Well, that's good. You had your own Freaknik.
We had a good time. We had fun.
Good. Look.
Memories.
The nostalgia coming back. Yes. Memories. Well, that's good. So I was just curious. Well, maybe you should try to go to the movies by yourself too.
Yeah.
I always thought it would be like super awkward. Like, oh, I'm like, I've got nobody. But no, I've changed my attitude and I'm going to go. And there's a movie that I want to see. I'm going to go.
What movie do you want to see?
You would ask me. I don't even know if it's still the name of it. So it's this girl. She's a boxer. And it's inspirational. She's from out west somewhere. And it's
true story?
True story.
Okay.
And I love true stories. And I feel like it's still at the movies because it came out, I don't know, a few weeks ago, a month ago. But it's about a boxer and it's inspiring and how she overcame and, and all that stuff. So I'm super excited to go see it.
Yeah,
I better hurry up.
Yeah, you better hurry up. But we have the whole year. There'll be other movies.
Yeah, but I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait because, like, do it now. Why wait? I mean, January 1st was a month and a half ago. Like, not that there's this deadline, but I have had time.
You have had time. But
and I've thought about it.
And you've thought about it, but you've had a lot going on. Look, giving yourself grace.
Yes. And not having that all or nothing attitude.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we feel like, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
We have to do it today. But really you don't.
No. And it's just like the weight loss or the health piece of things. look, okay, so I got set back by some Girl Scout cookies.
That's okay.
And stayed off the
Did
rails
you
for a little while.
enjoy 'em?
I did,
Well, then
man,
that's
I
all that
did.
matters.
Look, I told you, I Googled, and I know I'm not alone in this, that people have eaten a whole sleeve of Thin Mints. I know I'm not alone. But I hadn't eaten lunch, and I Googled, I was like, well, how many calories
And you had
in a
eaten the whole sleeve?
I ate the whole sleeve. How many calories in a sleeve of Thin Mints? And then I rationalized it. This is, I guess, girl math, too. I said, well, I didn't
Girl
eat
math.
breakfast. I didn't eat lunch. So, it's almost 600, but that's only like 300 calories a meal.
What was the fat grams and all?
I didn't check all that. Thin Mints I don't think they have that much fat.
Who cares? They were good. Look, I had a brownie last night,
Yeah.
and I ate every last bit of it. It was so good.
But I do want to be healthy. I want to be the best version of myself. I want to exercise. And so I
wait a
have
minute. You
goals.
said in that episode,
Did I?
you said we were talking about the gym and how important it was to me. And I said,
I said 2 weeks in.
yes, and I said those people are going to be like in the parking lot and we're not going to be able to get into the gym. And I'm waiting.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, I'm going to give it 2 weeks. So have you been?
No, I gave it.
Kimberly.
I gave it an indefinite amount of time. Infinity. I don't know.
You did. You're like, we give them 2 weeks. Because I'm like, God, you don't even give these people poor hope. They get 2 weeks and then they're going to drop.
I know. But look, the spring is coming.
But you've been walking, so give yourself credit.
I do walk. I walk. That's more
You walk
for my
a lot,
mental health.
but that's exercise,
Yeah.
right? And so,
Yeah.
I mean, the gym, you can lift weights, and there's other
But
things you can do.
I really did notice that I need to get some muscle tone because I don't know. I don't think I told this story, but
Yeah.
I was at my daughter's house for Thanksgiving, and her nephew was there, and I picked that little boy up, and he was solid, but I was like, man, struggling to pick him up. I was like, I need to get some muscles, and you do as you get older.
As we get older.
you lose your muscles, and I need to do that for my health.
For your health, right?
Yes.
Focus on your health.
Yes,
That's
yes,
funny.
yes.
So I wonder how our listeners are doing. I wonder if they're doing as good as us.
I don't know. They're probably doing about the same.
Yeah. And like you said, give yourself grace because, I mean, you don't have to wait till New Year's to start over
No.
because it's like, I mean.
You can start over. You can, just like you said, February 1st, March 1st, Sunday, Monday. Pick your own start over dates.
Sunday, Monday. You know
whatever dates.
You know how many diets years
Start
ago?
on Monday.
I'm like, let's go get some Ben and Jerry's. We'll start over tomorrow. That'll be on Sunday.
But I will tell you one thing I'm doing amazing at.
What is that?
I said that I wanted to kind of live my life and find joy in life. And so I am doing those things.
Yep.
So I just went
That's awesome.
with my son-in-law
Which I think is amazing.
to
He's pretty
a
awesome.
Prince impersonation concert.
Love it.
We had a ball. I love Prince, and I always regretted that I never got to see him in concert.
That's like me with Whitney.
Well, we're gonna have to find you a Whitney impersonator.
Oh, that would be fun.
I think there might be one in Vegas.
Let's go, girl.
We should go to Vegas.
Let's go. I love my Whitney. It makes me so sad. But anyway.
Yeah, but we had so much fun, and people were there, and it was just like it was Prince. And when he first came out on stage,
Oh my.
I told my son-in-law, I said he looks like somebody's grandmother.
He looks like someone's grandmother. Did he really? Did you get a picture?
I didn't. So the first.
So was he old?
He wasn't old, but he had this wig on. And my relative of mine, I won't say which one, has a wig, and the girls.
Well,
and
now
I,
they're gonna know.
That relative will know. But the girls and I were over at her house, and then we all put on a different version of the wigs, and then took these pictures. But that wig, one of those wigs, they had on their head, and it was hilarious.
Maybe they borrowed it from your family member.
But it got better after that.
I mean,
did
did they sing Prince songs or did they?
No, he sung.
Oh, he actually his own
amazing.
voice.
Yes,
Okay.
Prince song sounded like his speaking voice sounded like Prince.
Was he little like
He
Prince?
was very tiny. Yes,
Tiny like Prince. Yeah.
But people were up there at that stage, touching his hands, dancing in the aisle.
Nah, like he was Prince.
Yeah. Just use your. But he did my
Use
favorite
your
Prince song,
imagination.
Use your imagination. I wasn't real successful in that, but the music itself was amazing, and he did an amazing job with the music.
That's awesome. And I know we didn't talk on this show, but I know we kind of have a recurring theme, I think, from our show. It's like always being the best version of yourself.
Yes, yes.
And I think I've had some experiences in my life. And I know we talked about that book that I read. Like, we can learn so much from people that we're in relationships with.
Yes.
Whether our friends or romantic relationships. And I've learned so much about myself in a relationship that I had.
Yes.
And
so your personal growth.
It's made me want to be, I mean, I've always wanted to be better, right? But it's made me look at things within myself that maybe I didn't know about. Like I didn't know maybe could be a challenge, maybe an issue in relationships, or maybe I make people feel some kind of way because of the way that I react or what have you. And it's been, I don't know, kind of mind-boggling that, look, we're in the middle of February. I've realized it. I've read a book. I am getting ready to take this little class. And it has nothing to do with the other person. It has to do with me. It's me. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's scary a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, don't we want to be the best versions of ourselves? And so stuff like that is kind of popping into my mind. Lots of my friends in this age group.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people that I know are kind of going through this. And at some point, we'll talk about a midlife crisis and another. And I don't think it's a midlife crisis, but I think that it gives you an opportunity to assess where you're at.
It's a midlife awakening.
Yeah. And maybe because, I don't know, you're learning from other people, you're learning from yourself, whatever. I don't even know what it is, but all I know is a lot of my friends are going through it right now. And it's kind of a beautiful thing. You could tuck it back in your head somewhere and ignore it and never deal with some of this stuff. But I want to deal with it. And so, so I feel like, although it wasn't necessarily a resolution, it's just something I think I've been successful with. I'm not 100% there, but I'm going there. And it feels good.
Yeah, and I see that. I see that growth since the beginning of the year.
In 6 weeks, it's like crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, and look, there is no better resolution than to want to be a better version of yourself.
No.
And to spend that time doing that, and to be, what, how many weeks did you say in 6 weeks?
Like 6 weeks, I guess. 6, 7 weeks. Yeah, we're about 6, 7 weeks.
Yeah, and you're doing amazing, and you're discovering new things about yourself.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, that's why I do that, or that's why. And, sometimes you have to be alone, right, to do that.
Yeah.
Like, and I notice I'll go out to eat every once in a while and stuff, but I used to go out to eat with friends 3 times a week. Like, not even kidding you. Not really doing that anymore. Even on the weekends, sometimes. I mean, I went out last night for dinner, but I mean, like staying home and really using that time to really reflect. It's been really great, actually.
And I have been staying out of stores. So I haven't been spending as much money.
I was going to say me too, and there's things that I do want to buy, but same thing. I noticed the other day, I'm like, man, my bank account is looking good. And then I was like, well, you do need to go to the store because you need your body soap and you need this. But it's like, because I'm not in the store, Yeah. Which makes a difference because really, do you need all that stuff?
Yeah, because the temptation, if you go into the stores.
Oh.
So if shopping or, budgeting and not shopping as much was a goal, staying out of the store does help tremendously.
I know some people that are doing well, from a clothes perspective, they're doing like a clothes freeze. So they can go buy, groceries, gas, that kind of stuff, obviously. But when it comes to clothes, they are not buying a thing for themselves for a couple months. Think about the money you spend on clothes. I mean, think about it. Even though we're really good and we try to get things on sale or whatever, or coupons or whatever.
But if you do that all the time, it adds up.
It adds up. It's so bad. Like for me lately, I had to go buy new hangers. I had to go to Costco and get new hangers.
I did it a few months ago. I went
a big old box
hangers.
of them. I said, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
I need to get rid of some clothes or stop buying.
You know? But I know. But and that's true. You're not and you're right. Because I had to do the same with the hangers. And
So you bought more too?
I bought more hangers. And I have gotten to the point too where my closet is packed.
Yeah. But you might go wear that shirt someday.
But really,
Yeah,
look,
but they say you should really get rid of it, right, if you don't wear it in a year.
And I wear getting stuck in a routine. And there's certain outfits you go to the same time. You know, you wear the same thing all the
Well,
time.
we even talked about, we started doing the podcast. I actually said it earlier. I need to go get some new clothes because I feel like I'm running out of clothes. I mean, and we're not doing the podcast that much. I mean, it's like, but I feel like I need to get some new clothes for the podcast.
And I did just order a few things. This is my spring clothes.
That's
like
what I'm
like
saying.
A kid. I need my spring.
Well,
spring
we're staying
clothes.
home. It's been yucky outside.
Yeah.
We might get some snow this week. I mean, it's like, no.
Yeah, so it's just moderation. So maybe that's a key thing also with resolutions or intentions is just moderation.
And so as you can see, we've not been the greatest at what we wanted, but we're making progress. And I think like even that self-improvement part I talked about, that wasn't something I had an intention to do.
Yeah.
Based on relationships or where I'm at in my life, that's where that came from.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of a happenstance, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah, but when you set already, you kind of, it's not just the intention, but it's just your life, kind of your intention for your life, not just for the year.
Yeah.
So you're always in that mindset of, how do I improve?
Yeah, like you might want a new job this year.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You might not get it on January 1st, right?
Yeah, right.
But it might take you 6 months to find the job. You might interview for tons of jobs.
Yeah.
But you know that's a goal for you this year.
Yes.
Then just, you know, give yourself some grace because you don't have, all you can do is apply. All you can do is interview and put your best foot forward. But it's up to the company to make that final decision.
That's right.
I mean, you have a decision to make too once you have an offer, right?
Yes.
And so you have to kind of look at it like that. Sometimes it's not all about you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's other scenarios.
Yeah, and focus on the things you have control over.
Yourself.
Yeah, and
yourself.
that's it.
Yourself. And that's I think something I'm learning too this year, right? Like you know, I'm this kind of friend to you. You're not going to be the same kind of friend to me. I'm going to love you this way, but your love is going to show up differently.
Yeah.
And have to embrace that more. Embrace that people are who they are and they're going to do things different than you, and that's okay too. So I think that's something to take into account for this year.
Now, and I did have one enlightening moment. So this is a moment of personal growth that I realized about myself. And this is kind of, and it's a little bit more revealing about me, but it's a personal.
I love it. Tell it all, girl.
I want to tell it all. You know, I got to keep some things to myself. But I had a conversation with someone that really, really, really triggered me. And
like
I realized,
in a bad way?
In a bad way.
But that's not necessarily bad, right?
No, it wasn't. It was, yes. It's not a bad thing to be triggered. I think we sometimes think it's a bad thing.
It's not.
Because your behavior when you're triggered might not be the best. But I think when you get triggered, there's a purpose in it. It's something in you that's meant to come out to look at.
Okay.
And what I realized was that I don't like when I feel like someone else is devaluing me or not listening to me. When I feel like I'm unseen.
Like when you're sharing your feelings or your thoughts. Okay.
And I feel like something is being shut down, then I don't like it. I don't like it. But then I realized, you know, and it was so interesting because I realized that I also do that to other people.
Oh, so do you think that trigger made you look at something you're doing? It triggered you. You don't like it, but you're doing it to other people.
Yes. Yes. And then I thought about where I got it from. Why don't I like it? And it's from a childhood memory. And I thought, how that childhood memory and experience made me feel like unvalued and not listened to. And then in turn, I hate it when somebody does it to me.
So how do you fix it?
I think being aware, accepting the trigger and listening to yourself and saying, okay, why did that bother me so much? What was it? The person didn't intend to do that. So why did it bother me so much?
Because you know that person's heart, right? Like if it's someone you care about, you know their heart. They're not trying to hurt you, but it just triggered you in that way.
Yeah, but I know from experience that anytime, and then you look back and you say, every time somebody acted like they were listening to me and weren't listening, valuing, in my opinion, I felt some type of way about that. But then it just clicked for me, and I think it was just like God's divine intervention saying, you kind of do that to other people.
But see, that's the beautiful thing. If you're a type of person that's willing to take that constructive, even though it wasn't constructive criticism, but it was some way you felt, right? and try to look at yourself for the greater good of yourself.
Because I want to be the best version. It's like my daughter was saying, I will tell people, I'm very guilty of this, that I think I'm right like 95% of the time. And the other 5%, you're going to have to convince me that I'm not right.
But you think that goes back to your childhood?
I probably.
A defense mechanism almost?
A defense mechanism.
But you do that, so do you take account and say, okay, Kim, maybe you can be 85 this week? I mean, do you do that because now you're aware?
I think that I'm starting the process of becoming aware. Realistically, I know that I'm not right 95% of the time. But legitimately, you might have to convince me. But I need to start being more open to that, because I think when I do that, that is what makes the other person feel unseen, unheard, unvalued.
Yeah. And I'm learning, I think we talked about this. I think you said you do it too. I was using a different word, but I think it's the same thing. Assumptions.
Yeah.
And I do sometimes.
I've been accused of that too.
I've been accused. Well, it was a different word, but now you and I've talked. I think it's the same behavior where you might read a text or something and you're like, based on your own personal experiences now.
Yes.
So it's coming from a place.
Yeah.
You're assuming what that person meant, and it might set you off. But what I'm learning, because I used to shut down a lot, as talkative as I am, but what you need to do is you need to pick up the phone if you're texting and have a conversation with the person instead of making that assumption. Because when you make that assumption, then you're feeling some kind of way. And if that person knows you well enough, they're getting some kind of way. And then that's what starts an issue in that dynamic, which doesn't even need to happen because you just have a conversation to understand each other.
Because what you're assuming probably isn't even true.
And I have to own this.
Really, it might
I
not
have
be
to
true.
own this. Recently, a couple things in my life happened, and I made some assumptions. And I got very, very upset. Well, one, very, very upset. The other, not so much, but still feeling some kind of way. And I'm going to be completely honest. After I had those conversations, I was 100% wrong. 100% wrong. And I felt horrible. I felt sad for myself. Like, why did I do that? Based on what's in my mind. But then it's like, I got to work on that. I got to work on that because I don't want to hurt people I love.
No.
And I know that I did do that. And I don't want to do that because it didn't come from a place of my heart. They know my heart. So it's not that. It's just, but it goes back to those triggers and, trying to maybe protect yourself and all that good stuff. And we can have another episode on that.
Yeah, we could do a whole episode
because I know
on
we're
those
probably
things.
going off tangent on that, but not that was an intention of ours.
It's not really off tangent. It really isn't, because when you set those resolutions and intentions for the year, you really are looking at your life.
Yeah.
And so that's a part. It's a part of the growing experience of living.
And that is a good point. And we've talked a lot about, too, that in a weird way, we're kind of on the same journey. I feel like there's been 6 months ago, you might have been 5 months ahead of me.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you said, Shannon, we're in the same place.
Yeah,
we are in the same place.
Yeah.
And so we're starting, and it's great because we're so open with each other. It's awesome, and I think it's going to flourish not only our lives, but the people that we love in our lives. We're going to be better for it to those people who then in turn will be better for us too. So I think it'll be a win-win for all the people that we care about.
And we can help. We can be out here breaking generational curses.
Breaking generational curses, exactly. We could do an episode on that.
We could do an episode on that.
I'll have to talk to my mom about some of that stuff.
I'll talk to my mom too.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's stuff that they wish they could have talked about.
And my children, I think, when we do a mother-daughter episode, I think we will definitely talk about that.
Yeah. Well, this has been a great catch up.
I feel like it's fun.
And again, just don't have that all or nothing mindset, because the reality is you've got to be flexible. Everything is not black and white.
It's not perfect.
And nothing in life is perfect. And you can never control someone else. Focus on yourself. And I mean, and be
just
gentle and be kind to yourself and keep trying, right? So I can't say I won't have a Diet Pepsi today, but I just might. But I'll do better tomorrow, right?
Yes.
And just be gentle and kind with yourself. But today's episode on resolution reality check, I think, went really well.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was fun. We got you laughing, Kim. My God.
Yeah, telling my Prince story.
I mean, that sounds like I wish I would have been there. But thank you so much for all your support of the Pink Dress Effect podcast. Like us on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. Make sure you follow us too, right? We want to grow with you as we're in this journey. It's been a couple months, and we're learning every time we have a new episode, and we want to learn from you. Let us know what you think. Send us some topic ideas for future conversations.
Yeah, and tell us how you're doing with your resolutions.
Yeah.
Like, check in with us.
Oh, that's a great idea, too. Yeah, let us know we're not the only ones that are...
he's eating sleeves of Girl Scout cookies.
Love it. I love it. Well, stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you so much for all your support, and have a great, great day.
And we'll see you next time.